Hey, I'm Richard Miller with Goldie May, and today we're going to talk about keeping your research organized, whether it's at home, at the library, at a family search center, or wherever you may be. I am a software developer building Goldie May. This is genealogy research software intended to work with the family tree you already have. It's not another place for a family tree. I'm coming from a place where I love the family search tree. It's the main tree I use. And so as I worked on it, I wanted a way to store the work in progress. So I often had pieces of paper on my desk, and maybe you can relate, and it just doesn't travel well. So I wanted to put all of that information somewhere that I could keep long term and keep it with me. So I didn't want that to be the tree itself, right? So the tree wouldn't be the right place to put, here are the 3 candidate grandfathers for so and so. It's more for conclusions. And so Goldie May is intended to be that research software that's for the work in progress to help you sort out all the details, and then you can put your conclusions in the family search tree or wherever is the right place for you, wherever you keep your tree. So we'll talk about organization today in the context of Goldie May, and I have Goldie May open here on the right of my main window. How I got here? Well, I went. You can go to goldiemay.com and click install on Chrome. You'll be taken to the Chrome web store where you can choose add to Chrome. So then you'll then see the black G of Goldie May appear in your browser, or if it's not there, you can look under the extensions menu here. But this works on Chrome, on Firefox, on any Mac or PC computer. It does not work on a phone or tablet. But you would just open Goldie May here in the side window. You'll sign in with your Family Search account. And then there are a few features to help keep you organized. So one of those is projects. This is a free feature. It's intended to organize your research into various projects that could be for client work you're doing or just the various lines of your family. As I scroll down, you can see lots of different projects I have. I've even used the little green emoji on some of the projects to highlight some of the ones that I'm working on at the moment. But for example, if you click into a project, you'll see that there is a place for notes, and you can add the research subjects of the project, and there's a place for tasks. And so this ends up being really nice because when you're trying to get organized in your research, you're often speaking to your future self, which future self will forget all the context that you're currently thinking about while you research. So it's so easy, at least for me, to get into the context of a certain person. This America Jane Overland, who I learned was the 1850 census says she was born in Kentucky, 1860 says Indiana, and so on. You might remember that today, but it's your future self you're communicating to that needs to know when you pick this up in a week or a month or whatever it may be, what those details are. And as you get that context back in your brain, you're able to build on it or keep going from it. So these notes are intended to give me that, where I put some highlights of what will get me in that context of what am I looking for. And in this case, I'm trying to really narrow in her parents. And so I'm looking at the oldest contemporary record. I think it happens to be her marriage record. In 1843, she was married to William Davis in Spencer County, Indiana. And so I'm trying to work back from there. Who are the Overlands living in Spencer County at the time? Who are the Davises living there at the time? And maybe if I can narrow down, who lived next to whom, then I might figure out who are candidate parents. She has parents on the tree, but I'm trying to add sources for them and see and really kind of narrow in who they are, because that's where the tree is weak. So that's the idea here with projects. Now you can also add people. You can come in here and just add a name, or you can add a family search ID to this. And then if you do the family search ID, it pulls in the icon for you. It pulls in a lot of the information for you. So this ends up being helpful to reference while you're searching. If you go over to Family Search and you go into search, at least I find it. It's so funny how I could go to create a search and forget who I'm searching, or forget the details. See, what was her last name again? Okay, it's American Jane Overland. What was her birth year again? And so this gives you a place to look back over at a glance and see 1824. She died in 1874. This is the kind of stuff I was keeping on paper before, and now it's all in Goldie May. So these are all free features I'm showing you. The tasks are nice because you can just add the various things that you want to look for. It allows you to plan your research out. So you can say, okay, I'm going to look for marriage. I'm going to look for marriage records. I'm going to look for these, land records of the Overlands and Davises in this county. I'm going to look for tax records, whatever it might be. You would add those to your task list. And then as you go, that keeps you organized because you're remembering what you wanted to look for instead of kind of going down one rabbit hole all at once and coming back and thinking, where was I? You can plan your research ahead with tasks. So there's probably a lot of ways to keep track of projects and tasks, etc. But what I like about Goldie May and why I wanted to build it this way was that it's stored in the cloud for one. So if I sign out of Goldie May, close it, and then come back tomorrow, come back in a week, it's all stored in the cloud. I didn't have to worry about losing a paper. And if I go to a family member's home, to the library, to a FamilySearch Center, then there's no problem. Usually it's fine to just sign into, use the computer at the library, go to goldiemay.com, click add to Chrome, and et cetera. You can use a Chrome extension in the library, sign in and see all your research there. So, and then remove the Chrome extension when you're done if you were the one that added it. A lot of the FamilySearch centers, especially in Utah and the Wasatch Front, the Mountain West, have Goldie May already installed. Others in your area may or may not have it, and you could ask about that or install it while you're there. But this is a way to travel with all your research and not have to worry about carrying a thumb drive or lots of papers or whatever. So that's the intention of Goldie May here. Okay, let's get a little more into this and I can show you some specifics about this. So I'm going to pretend that we are going to kind of start over on this project. So let me just say that we have this marriage record that's my note about America Jane Overland. And let me just, in fact, open up her on Family Search. We'll close these tabs. Okay, I'm going to start a new project and I'll say we are looking for details on the parents of America Jane Overland. And I'm going to paste in this note from the other project. This will be sort of our starting point, that we have this 1843 marriage record. I'm going to pull over the ID and put that into the project as well. And then, okay, what would we do? We really want to know a lot about Spencer County. We want to focus on the places that the person was, as far as we know, by the records. Okay, one way to focus on the places is to use the subway map. This is Goldie May's timeline tool. And what I'm going to do is hover over the word. Let me back up and say that this is showing the places that America lived over her lifetime and then the years of her lifetime. And these dots come from the family search tree representing the various facts of her life: birth, marriage, death, births of children, residences, etc. So one of the parts of this is that I can hover over any of these place names at any jurisdiction level and see resources for that place. So I'm going to open up the Spencer County catalog page, and I'm really interested in this in the time frame of her marriage, right? Because that's possibly when her parents were still living there, if she was growing up there, and where I want to be looking. So I might look down here for tax records or land records. Here's a few. So let's open up these in tabs. I can right click and hit open in tab, or we could do I'm going to hold command or control on a PC and click these to open up those three tabs. So this is where we could get to. We'd have these tabs open. Let me back up and say too that if I'm on this project for America Jane, I could come in here and say, I want to check the Spencer County deed records and hit add. But there's another way to do it, which is to right click on a link on the left side and choose Goldie May and then say create task from link. And this will drop that title and link into the task list. And I'm going to delete the first one I created. And that's just so much easier. So what we'll do is create task from link on the second one and then create task from link on the third one. And now this has become sort of a ad hoc or impromptu research plan. We're trying to think about the places, the types of records that would be helpful to find for her. And maybe we're going to give it some priority because maybe a land record's a lot more likely to help us than a military record or some other, newspapers or something. So we'll choose our favorites. If you add them in a different order than you want to search them, then you can just drag these around and choose your order. So that's where that's how we could use those. So if I hadn't opened up these tabs already, I would click the link to open the tabs. But here we are. We're on this deed book record, and this is too bad. Unfortunately, this is a locked record. I would not be able to access this from home. It would have to be at a Family Search Center where it's likely the record rights are allowed to be visible at the center. So that happens to be true that's all the records on the second tab as well, and the third. So okay, I won't be looking at these images at home, but I would really like to see these images when I get to the library. Now I could do this a couple ways. I could remember, but I'm trying not to remember. I'm trying to instead put something on paper or digitally that helps my future self remember what I'm going to do or what I'm going to want to do when I'm back at a Family Search Center or the Family Search Library. Okay, so what I could do is come into the task, edit this, and I'm going to put a little keyword in front of it, FSC, meaning Family Search Center. Or if I knew that this had to be, only at the Family Search Library in Salt Lake City, I could put FSL, Family Search Library. But I think this is a digital format, not just film, that would probably be available from any Family Search Center. So I'll put FSC. And so then if I have put FSC on a bunch of these tasks, then later when I come into a center, sign into the computer there, open up the task list, then I'll know at a glance that, oh yeah, I want to look at these Family Search Center tagged links, and those will be the ones I can see inside the center. Now there's another way. I haven't talked about the research log yet. So this is another part of staying organized. For each project in Goldie May, there is a research log. If you've used a research log in the past, maybe you've copy and pasted links to a spreadsheet, or you've sketched things on it in a notebook or whatever. This is an alternative where instead of copy and pasting anything, you're going to click the log page button here, and this will copy over the title of the current page you're looking at and its link and put it right into your log. So here you could like it, dislike it, you could write comments about it, you could write an abstract about it, you could delete it. But this is going to be your place to keep a log of everywhere you go. If you took it a step further and turn on automatic logging, then when you're over on something like this catalog page, and I'm really interested in this 1850 census, click this. As the page changes up here, you'll notice in a couple seconds over here, the new page appears in the log. So that automatic logging is your option to just turn it on and then start searching, not worry about what you're tracking, figure it out later if that's better for you, whichever one is better for you. You can think of this as rabbit hole insurance. So if you are going to go down a rabbit hole potentially of a search, you might as well just log everywhere you go and figure out later what are you going to keep, what are you going to delete. So that's the research log. Now you may have noticed this first page I logged that came from here has a padlock in it in Goldie May. Goldie May detected that this is a locked collection and has put the padlock next to it to remind you that this is a locked collection. So if I were just to come in here and log this second page that was locked, and then go to the third page and log the third page that's locked, you'll see that padlock next to all three of those. Okay, if I'm now in a Family Search Center, I could easily browse, I could easily glance at these and see that 3 of these are locked. But let me show you what happens if you log more than 10 things, so you have more than a page worth. Let me just come into the catalog, and I'm going to kind of indiscriminately open a few links and just let them all be logged. What I'm doing is just wanting to fill up my research log so that you have a kind of a full page here. So did I get 10? That might have been 10. Let's see if what you'll see is a search bar appears here. And this is where I could search for, by any text. So I could search for Spencer or for, census or whatever, and get back all the things that are related to a census. But it also has these special search operators. So show me everything I've liked, anything I've disliked, anything that has a comment, etc. So one of those is restricted. And what this means is this collection restricted at Family Search? And you'll see that it filters it down to just those 3 restricted things. And so that makes it really easy if you're in a Family Search Center to find all the things that you couldn't see at home and which you're now so excited to see. And then if you're at the Family Search Center with Goldie May open and you're ready to go, you would just, of course, click this link and it would open up at the computer there. And hopefully there, this little padlock icon would be gone. You'd see the camera icon only, and you could click into that and start viewing the images. Now, what makes this even more fun is that I'm currently showing this project that we've been working on, but the Goldie May research log has an option to, instead of choosing just one research log or one project, you can say, show me all the research logs combined. So this is now, pages and pages of records that you are across all your projects. And then you could come into your search log and say, show me what's restricted. And now you're seeing across all of your projects, what are all the things you couldn't see at home, and now you're excited to see them at a Family Search Center. So that's how you could take advantage of being at home, finding something that you couldn't see there, logging it, making a task about it, recording it to Goldie May, then you take it into the Family Search Center and you can get to it. And now we can take a screenshot. So you're at the Family Search Center looking at this great image that you can only see there. You could choose take a screenshot and then clip out the portion of the record that's about America Jane, her family, and then you'll, within a couple seconds, see that screenshot appear in your research log. And that's a great way to take it home with you without a thumb drive, without that kind of hassle. That's the Goldie May research log, the Goldie May project system. Most of that is free. Citations is a pro feature if you want the research log to save citations for you on known websites. Everything else I think that I've shown you today is free. So you can go to goldiemay.com, sign up, and see if that's helpful to you. Now, I've been talking about Family Search Centers and the Family Search Library. Where else might you go? Maybe if you're going to go to the National Archive in Washington, D.C., you could look up archives.gov, and similar things would apply here. You could go through various record groups that are interesting to you that you're going to want to see in D.C., and you could do the right click, save it to your task list. You could log things. And then I don't know the policies of the National Archives on computers, whether you could install a Chrome extension, but either you would bring your laptop with you with your Goldie May Chrome extension installed, or possibly use it at the library there. And then you'd be able to get back to all the links that you pre-planned. You'd be taking advantage of your time there by not deciding what you're going to look for there, but pre-deciding what you're going to look for. And then when you're there, you're able to jump right into the research. Okay, National Archive, where else could you go? You could go to Archive Grid. You could Google this and then go to here, down to Application Archive Grid. This is a directory of libraries and archives around the country, maybe the world. And you could say, okay, I'm going to go to Adair County, Iowa, because that's where I had Wilson ancestors. So you would search Adair County and you could see various collections that are available in that area. So when you're doing a visit there, you'll know, in addition to the kind of usual cemeteries, etc., you could be going to archives that might be of interest to you there. So I hope this is helpful to you. This is how you can use Goldie May to stay organized. The principles here are that we're trying to get things out of our head onto paper or digital, some way that we can carry them with us, some way we can remind our future selves of what our context was when we were searching. So I hope that's helpful to you. You can reach me at richard@goldiemay.com. I'd love to hear from you. And thanks so much for watching.